Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about how I'm creating my artwork from all of my leverless controllers. So the program that I use is called GIMP. It is a free application that works on Windows, Mac, and Linux. I do not have access to Photoshop, so I'm using this free tool and it's been working really well for me. So we're going to go over the steps that I do to get this done, and hopefully this helps you as well. If you have any tips and tricks for GIMP or how to get this done in other ways, please leave a comment in the description. I'm open to all the different suggestions, and maybe I'll make a follow-up video kind of going over the tips and tricks that I received. But let's dive right in. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and go to Google and look for GIMP, right? So GIMP, download this program again for Windows, Mac, or Linux. Once you have that, you want to make sure that you go to Discord. The link is in the description. And when you get to Discord for the Hot 42 program, you want to make sure you go to Resources. Once you get there, do a search for art. And once you click on that, you'll see a list of all the zip/RAR files that contains everything you need for all their devices. So in this case, we're going to use the S, but the techniques we're using today will work on the S, the M, and the T. I'm sure the G, because they're all kind of the same, but these are what I did to do my S, my M, and my T at this point. Right, so we have our files. So now we have our SRAR file here. We're going to go ahead and double click it, and we're going to unzip it or decompress this package here. And once we do that, we'll see a folder here called S template files, and inside you're going to see a lot of different things. The only thing we need for this is the .psd, which is the Photoshop file. So we're going to open that file here, and once we do that, we will see that GIMP opens automatically, and GIMP will go ahead and present us with that project. Now, also, I'm doing this on a Mac right now, so if things are different on Windows or Linux, just go open up GIMP and do File Open if you need to, and that should be able to open that .psd file. But on a Mac, if you just double-click the .psd, it opens up GIMP for you automatically. So now we have that. Here in the package, it contains some instructions and different things that I personally didn't need, so I'm going to take you again through the steps that I do to get this done. So now we want to move our window down out of the way, and we're going to open our web browser, and we're going to go ahead and Google Hot 42, and we're going to go to that website. They have their homepage. We're going to go ahead and click on products. We're going to go to the S, and if you go all the way down to the bottom, you're going to see dimensions and weight, and here is what we need. So I highlighted right here what I'm looking for, and what we're looking for is the height and the width, and you're going to see why in a second here. So now that we have that, we have our GIMP kind of lower here so we can see both at the same time. Click on GIMP, and that has focus. So now click on Image and go to Canvas Size. Now once you do this, we're going to change our canvas that we have here to match the dimensions of the controller. So what we're going to click on is we're going to change it from pixels to millimeters. So make sure it says mm in the drop down on the left, or excuse me, on the right. So now we're going to change it from pixels to millimeters. So go ahead and click the drop down on the right, click on mm. You'll see kind of a chain there right next to it. Click that little chain link in the middle. It should look like a broken chain link now, which is perfect. So on your width, put the bigger number as the width, the smaller number as the height. So here 196, 125, and ignore the 12.5. That's just how tall the controller is. Don't worry about that part. So the width obviously is 196 at the top. The height is 125, and we should see everything there. Now we're going to hit the center button on the right-hand side, and that'll make sure everything moves to the center of what we just rescaled. And then go ahead and hit Save or Scale, and you should see your image the way you want it done. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start getting rid of things that we don't need that came with the project. So we're going to delete some layers. So if you look on the bottom right, those are all your layers that make this project work. We're going to right-click on the instructions layer, and we're going to delete that. We're going to right-click on the bleed line layer, and we're going to delete that. So now we have all the layers that we need. We're going to go ahead and hide the image layer because we do not need that at this point. So we're going to click the eyeball on the left of the image layer. Now it disappears. That's how you can show and hide the different layers of this project. So now that that's ready, we're going to chain the remaining layers together. That way we can move them as one group or unit to the space that we need them to be. So on the right-hand side of the eyeball, that blank space, if you click it, you'll see a chain pop up. So we click on S13, click on the chain. Go up to 16, click on the chain. The edge, again, click on the, you can see if you show and hide, you can see the different layers here showing up with each other. We click on edge, and then we click on the chain. Last, if we go to the hide layer, we can click on that and the chain. And now we're ready to move everything as one unit to the proper spacing. So what we're going to do is we are going to zoom in so we can get a better view. So you're going to go down to the bottom left, put the zoom to 50. Let's change it to 100. Move the screen all the way to the left, move all the way to the bottom. So boom, so we have all that ready to go. So now that we're zoomed in, we're going to want to move everything to the bottom left. So if you look at the top left of your screen, there's a little plus sign. That is the move tool. So make sure you click on the move tool. Now, the black layers that you see here, and there's a checkered layer you see. The checkered is what you cannot touch and cannot move. The things that are black is what you can. Well, this layer that are black are so skinny and thin that it can be a little hard to grab them. So, just keep moving your mouse until you'll see the icon change to where you do have focus over those black lines. We're going to drag this all the way down to the left. Get as close as you can get it, and then let go. So now we're going to use the arrow keys to get exactly where we want it. So use the down and the left and the up and right arrows to just step it in place where you want it. And that black line, don't stress about it. This is what you're going to see now. Just get as close as you can to the edge and as close as you can to the bottom, and that'll be perfect. So now when we zoom back out, we'll be able to see that the image is perfectly in the center. We're going to zoom out again so we can actually work with the project. So now everything's where we want it. Now we can just color. But before we do that, we want to make sure we do a test print to make sure everything is printing in the proper position before we start spending any time with art. Make sure the blank template works. So now we have everything where we need it. If you click on the image eyeball there, you can see the image appears right on top of the whole image. It looks like an actual controller with the design on it, which is perfect. What we're going to do here is we're going to add a background layer so we can test to make sure this prints properly, right? So on the bottom left of the layers, you'll see a paper with a plus sign on it. Click on that piece of paper. When you do that, name this background dash white and then click OK. So now we have that, but you're saying, okay, wait, I don't see anything. That's fine because it's transparent right now. That's why it's checkered color. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn off our image layer. So we're only working with the tools we need. So we're going to go down to the image layer. On the left, click the eyeball to make it disappear. We don't want that in view. Make sure that the background white, click on that layer so it has focus. And now we're going to go up to the top left to the bucket fill tool. It looks like a paint can. Click on that. And the color that you want to fill with is right to the bottom, that black and white down there. Go ahead and click on that black. And here we click OK. And now when you click the paint can in the middle of your image on the checkers, you can see it turned the whole image black. And if you look at your layers, the background white layer is now black. That's not what we want. We actually want it white. So we're going to click the black again. And this time we're going to pick white. Click OK. Go ahead and drop the spill the can on it, and boom. Now we have, which is a standard blank template we want to print out and test. So we have just a plain white background with the outline of the controller, as it should be, right there on top, and we're going to test print this to make sure it works. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Export As. And what you want to do is on the very bottom left, you'll see Select File Type by Extension. We're going to click on that. And we're going to look in here for PNG, Paul, Nancy, Greg. So now we found it. We're going to go ahead and click on Export. Click on Export again. And now we have our image exported. But we're going to do this again. You'll see why. So we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Export As. And instead of Paul, Nancy, Greg, PNG, select file type. This time we're going to do PDF. So go down and look for PDF in the group, Paul, David, Frank. Okay, we're going to hit export. We're going to hit export again. So now when we go back to Finder, we see our two brand new files ready. And we're going to open the PNG file, the Paul, Nancy, Greg. Open that file. We're going to go to File and go to Print. And here is the steps you're going to use every time you print. You're going to make sure you set the scale to 100. You're going to turn off the auto rotate. Make sure the orientation is always landscape. And when it comes to paper size, Since this controller is small and fits in a standard sheet of paper, you can just use US 8.5 by 11 letter paper. So that applies to the S and the M. They both fit inside of a standard piece of paper. When it comes to the T, you will need an A3 printout, which is the 11 by 17 inch paper, and that will allow you to fit that design on a full piece of paper. Right, so in this case, we're going to go down, click on US letter, 8.5 by 11. Again, orientation is landscape, auto rotate's turned off, the scale's at 100%, and we're not going to print it. We're going to click the drop down where it says PDF. We're going to save this as a brand new PDF. So now we're just going to call this print, hit save, use PDF. So now we have three files. We have our PNG file, that is our image. We have our brand new PDF file made from that image. And then we have a PDF that we made from GIMP. So let's go ahead and open the PDF we made with GIMP. And if you look, it looks just like the PNG. The image is right on the borders. Everything is where it needs to be. Perfect. So now let's open the new file we just made, which is that PNG PDF file. And if you notice, there's a huge white border around the image, and that's what you want. This looks like a standard piece of paper. This is about how big the controller would be on a standard piece of paper. If you were looking at the T model, it would look similar to this, where you would see a kind of a giant PDF image picture with the controller smaller in the middle as it would be on a real piece of paper, right? So now we're going to go ahead and print this out. So we're going to click on File, we're going to go to Print, and again, the same steps every time. We're going to make sure that the orientation is set to landscape, not portrait. Make sure the paper size, depending on your controller, the S and the M are small, so they go on a US letter 8.5 by 11. The T is larger, so he goes on an A3 11 by 17. And then the auto scaling is turned off. The scale is set to 100. And then go ahead and print this out as you normally would. And now, once you look at that, you can see everything lines up perfectly. Or honestly, you could just fold the piece of paper in half and lay it on top of the controller to kind of eyeball it and see if it fits the way you want it to. But if everything looks the way it should, as it does here for me, you are ready to start doing your artwork and designing for this controller, right? So to begin designing, we're going to go right back to GIMP, and we have currently our background is showing here with the white, and we have our image on the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to click the eyeball in the image. So what we're going to do now is we're going to drag the background white below the image layer. So just grab that layer and slide it under the image layer, and then make sure both of them have the eyeball turned on so that we both are showing. Why is this happening? What I'm trying to show you is the layers are shown in order from top to bottom. So that's why when you came back, even though the image was there and the eyeball was turned on, it wasn't showing. Only the white background was showing. It's because the white background, which is full screen, was above the image that is full screen. But now we put the white background below it. Now the image has priority. And the way you can show and hide, you just hit the eyeball on the top layer and it'll show and hide that layer, right? So now if you wanted to add different layers and test things out, like I have some controllers that I printed in black and some are printed in red. I didn't change any of my designs. I just changed the background layer, right? So what I did was, again, I went to the bottom of layers. I had a brand new layer. I called it background red instead of white. I hit OK. I make sure I click on that layer to give it focus, background red. I go up to the bucket fill tool here, the paint can. When I click it and I click on the first item, the white here, I just click on red. I click OK. Nothing's happening, but when I click paint or I turn off the image layer, but since the background red has focus, when I click on that layer there, when I turn off the image layer, you'll notice I have a red background. If I turn it off and on, I can see the white one showing up because, again, there's three technically 3 image layers appearing here, and I'm turning them off one by one to see which one I want to print. So what I'll usually do is I will download some images from Google or what have you, and I'll put them in a folder. And then I'll drag them right under where it says image here. I'll drag them onto GIMP right under image, the first one. Hide all the layers I don't want to see, only the one I do want to see by clicking the eyeball. I'll position it, scale it how I want it, and then I'll show and hide, and I'll drag another image in, show and hide, and I'll position it how I want it. And then here you're just trying different things out to see what you like. And then once you find the one you like, that's the only one that's showing with the eyeball. The other ones are all turned off. And that's how you can add multiple layers and different images and things to your project. So now we have our image turned on, we have our button layout showing. We want to go ahead and do a test print to make sure this is working as we want it to. So we're going to go back, go to File, go to Export As, go to Select File Type, look for PNG, Paul, Nancy, Greg, PNG image, hit Export again. And now we have our image in our folder. So we have our PNG, we're going to open it. And now we're going to print this PNG image, right? So we're going to make sure we pick our paper size, which is US letter or A3 for the T because it's a bigger device. The S and the M are all standard US 8.5 by 11 letter. We're going to change our orientation to landscape, not portrait. We're going to turn off auto rotate, and we're going to scale, make sure it's set to 100. And then we're going to click on the PDF and save this as a PDF. Now we're going to go back to our files. We're going to open that brand new PDF and print this to the printer. We're going to click on File. We're going to go to Print. And the same steps. We're going to make sure our orientation is set to landscape, that our paper size is set to US letter, 8.5 by 11 for the S and the M, A3 for the T, which is 11 by 17. Then we're going to go down to auto rotation, turn that off, go to scale, set it to 100%, and then we're just going to print this out. And now when we look at our prints, we can see that it's the exact same size as the last printout we just did. It just now has a graphic instead of a plain white template background. And now we can kind of compare and see this is what we really like. What you can also do is if you have a design that's really complex or it's just really dark and you can't see the cutout lines, you can print your complex design and then lay those pieces of paper together on the table, staple the 4 corners, like staple it once on the top left, smooth it out, staple it on the bottom left, smooth it out, the top right, smooth it, and bottom right. So that way now they're perfectly sealed together, and then just cut the template and the X-Acto knife will go through both sheets of paper. And now your complex design that's really dark has perfect holes through because you did it using the white. Your last step is to print your artwork out. So I personally go to FedEx, it's close to me. You can go to Office Depot, Staples, or wherever you need to print. Make sure you go up to the counter. Do not do the self-service checkout. The self-service station will auto-format and auto-scale your images and throw everything off. You will only take the PDF files with you. So take your PDFs, put them on a flash drive, and take that to the store with you. Also, make sure you know the paper size that you were printing out on your PC. So you have the S or the M. All your printouts will be 8.5 by 11. If you're doing the T, it will be 11 by 17 A3 paper. Let the staff know, and they will make sure they turn off the auto scale and all the different things and print that out for you at the counter. And it's in and out, very good service. That's it. And that's how I get this done. So again, if you have any tips and tricks that are better to get this done, let me know in the comments below. But I hope this helps someone get going and get started. Thanks for watching.